got 4 subunits and a heme group containing iron in the middle. This is it. So Fe is the symbol for iron, and it binds to oxygen. So that's what it looks like. The fetus has a slightly different type of hemoglobin compared to the one that is found in adults. So we call them HbF and HbA for hemoglobin fetal and hemoglobin adult. So the fetal hemoglobin is the main oxygen transport for the fetus during the last 7 months of its development in the uterus, and it is still in the body as a neonate until, so new baby, until roughly 2 to 4 months old. And it differs to adult hemoglobin in that it will grab onto oxygen better. So the oxygen will bind with a greater affinity than the adult form. So what we're doing is essentially giving the hemoglobin in the fetus a much better affinity for the oxygen, so it will grab it off the mother. So let's have a little look at some of these components of the blood then, since we've talked about the red blood cells quite a bit. Let's talk about everything else. So the fluid plasma is the yellowy fluid that I was talking about that you see when you've got a graze rather than a cut. And several components circulate within this plasma. There's the red blood cells, which we've talked about quite a bit. They're properly called erythrocytes. Loads of different white blood cells that we've talked about already. We've talked about phagocytes and lymphocytes quite a bit. And then there are also platelets. Now, these aren't technically cells, but they're bits of cells that have been pinched off. They're bits of cell cytoplasm. And we'll talk about them when we talk about clotting. We've also got loads of hormones circulating. Those are really important communication chemicals. And then we've got all the digestive foods, such as glucose, the nutrients that we need. And we've got the waste materials that we talked about when we were discussing the liver, and the CO2 that we get when our cells are respiring and using up that oxygen. And the blood circulates through the body through all of the tubes, some of which we talked about with the heart, then the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries.